In any case, if ASI sub-inspector or inspector arrests the accused person who have a possession of illegal substances, narcotic substances, he would ask the accused that you have a right to be searched in presence of GEO. There is a very less chance of tampering of the samples in such type of cases unless until there is a lapses in the procedure laid by the NDPS Act.
Sometimes politicians also caught by having their drugs in their homes and they can't go to jail.
When it comes to the recovery of the huge recovery from the politicians, so there is a less chance when the recovery was affected in a huge quantity. If they try to use their links officially, unofficially, which is against the ethics, so in that cases they can little bit differentiate between the procedures of the NDPS.
Is there any replacement of synthetic drugs?
Exactly what the de-addiction centers are using in these days. There is a replacement of synthetic drugs, but the thing again comes, it's a type of economics. The demand is of synthetic drugs because it comes very quickly and easily into the market, especially from the shops or from the smugglers, what we call the who used to sell the narcotics.
Hello, I am Vibhor. You are watching Legal Advice. Today we are having Tegbeer Singh Dhillon from Punjab and Haryana High Court. Sir, welcome in our program.
Thank you.
Today we are discussing on drug related issues. When the act regarding drug substance come into force?
That's starting a good question. This is a main big problem going around in the cities, in villages and in the states, especially in our country, India. So there is a rise of the cases in UP, in Punjab. So according to the census which the government has seen from last many years, that this drug abuse and smuggling is increasing. So they made an act which is called NDPS Act regarding the narcotic substance. So that formed in 1985. That came into force in 1985, in which regarding the imprisonment, regarding the fines, regarding the offenders, regarding the quantity, everything is mentioned there clause wise, section wise.
How much quality of drug is simple or commercial?
Regarding the quantity, there is a three types of descriptions in the NDPS Act. One is the small quantity, and one is the non-commercial, and one is the commercial. There are three types of quantities mentioned in the NDPS Act. The imprisonment for the small quantity is different, and for non-commercial it is different, and for commercial is different. If we take example of non-commercial and if we take example of small quantity and commercial, the imprisonment, punishment, fine differs according to the quantity. Suppose we take example of opium. The commercial quantity for opium is 2.5 kg is commercial quantity. Below that is non-commercial. If we take the example of other substances, there are different type of substances in which the quantities are commercial, non-commercial and small quantities.
Which police officer deal with such cases?
That's a good question, Vibhor. The cases which the police has power to deal with such type of cases is from the rank of assistant sub-inspector, which is we call the ASI in Punjab police, and the other forces has no power to deal with such type of cases, and sub-inspector and inspector can deal with such type of cases and register the FIR. But there is an important clause mentioned here is that for commercial quantity that a right is given to the accused, that if he wants to search in front of GO, which is called a gazetted officer, which is above the rank of which is due to the rank of DSP or above the rank of DSP, he has a right to be searched in front of GO. So in any case, if ASI sub-inspector or inspector arrests the accused person who have a possession of illegal substances, narcotic substances, he would ask the accused that you have a right to be searched in presence of GO. You can avail this right. So in that category, accused has a right to be searched in GO. So in that commercial category, GO can come on a call given by police officer. He'll arrive there and he will search, and the procedure goes on in front of him.
Which court deals with such cases?
That's again a good question. This such type of cases are deal with especially the additional session judges, which is designated courts. So the court starts from a judicial magistrate class 1, senior division, CGM, additional session judge. There is one session judge in each and every district, and session judge delegates the power to the additional session judges and delegates the power to have a designated court of the additional session judges, which deals with the NDPS cases. So these narcotics cases are only dealt with the court of session and the additional session judge, which the powers are delegated by the session.
In what circumstances accused got bail?
Usually when a person is arrested by the police officer, he makes the memos. The memos were prepared by that police officer and the recovery of the narcotic substance from the accused, the recovery which has been done on the spot, and the police officer took a little bit sample and sent that sample to the chemical examiner laboratory, and they usually take 5 months, 4 months, 6 months to get the report prepared and sent back to the police station and the courts regarding the such type of cases.
Is there any chance of tampering of samples?
There is a very less chance of tampering of the samples in such type of cases, unless until there is a lapses in the procedure laid by the NDPS Act and the memos prepared by the police officer on the spot. But still, if they prepare challan or the report not according to the NDPS Act, then the report which comes from the chemical examiner laboratory, that may be minutely morphine in that and could be even a 0% narcotic substance. In that cases, accused person can get a bail in that after spending some months in the jail.
Sometimes politicians also caught by having their drugs in their homes and they can't go to jail.
Yeah, there is a less chance when it comes to the knowledge of the police officer, especially DGP, SSP or the DSPs, when it comes to the recovery of the huge recovery from the politicians. So there is a less chance when the recovery was affected in a huge quantity. But if they try to use their links officially, unofficially, which is against the ethics, so in that cases they can little bit differentiate between the procedures of the NDPS. But at the end of the day, when the sample is gone, is sent to the laboratory and it comes, and the whole challan is going to be prepared and sent to the report to the courts, so very less chances of getting the acquittal from the courts.
What is the role of police, politician and court in such cases?
Politicians and the police and the courts are interrelated sometimes, because if some who is a habitual offender of the narcotics, if he is arrested and some politician to whom he is attached from many years, he usually called to police that please don't arrest this person. He is my cousin, friend, or my it's on my team, a political team. So in that cases, sometime we usually see through the newspapers, through media, it happens. But it is the negligent part of the police officers if they do such acts, and the strict action should be taken against that such officer.
Is there any replacement of synthetic drugs?
Exactly what the de-addiction centers are using in these days. There is a replacement of synthetic drugs, but the thing again comes, it's a type of economics. The demand is of synthetic drugs because it comes very quickly and easily into the market, especially from the shops or from the smugglers, what we call the who used to sell the narcotics. And if this should be banned, some politician like ex-MP Mr. Tegbeer Gandhi ji, he tried his best to put his words in the parliament that synthetic drugs should be stopped and the cultivation of opium should be started in Punjab as well, so that the generation, the young people, everyone, irrespective of any gender, who are indulged in such type of practice should be saved.
Why the action is not taken to the habitual offenders?
No, there is a law actually. Action is always taken. Now the laws are made stricter than the previous laws. Habitual offenders have a double punishment, double fine, and the good law which just enacted many years ago is if someone who used to sell commercial quantity and he makes a property means he makes his house, agriculture land, showrooms, anything in his name, that property is going to be sealed, whether it is a 50 acre or 100 acre or a home or a showroom, anything. The property made from the illegal means by selling the narcotic drugs, and that property is going to be sealed under the act which is done by the police.
There is a rumor that police usually involve innocent people in such cases to please their boss and politician.
Yes, even I have seen the people through the newspapers, saw the news that I am innocent, I have been falsely implicated, I would say. Usually people allege after spending so many years in the jails, behind the bars. So so many years have spoiled because of the it happens. Sometimes politicians use their powers, misuse their powers, and sometimes police misuse their power to please their bosses, something to put the innocent person behind the ball. But at the end of the day, judiciary is there. Judiciary always sees whole report, what's going on, what's the lapses, and if police intentionally puts accused, any innocent person behind the bars, at the end of the day, the person gets bail and acquittal from the courts.
In what type of cases conviction held?
Conviction usually held in commercial cases and non-commercial cases as well. Sometimes small quantity cases, a person is arrested, he spent in jail like 2 months or a month. Sometimes courts pronounce the order to acquit them because they have already undergone the imprisonment in small quantities. But in non-commercial and commercial quantities, in commercial, I would say the imprisonment is from 10 years up to 20 years and a fine of 1 lakh or 2 lakhs. So in which the proper case is prepared and in which the report of the chemical examiner came that it is a narcotic substance, and every procedure is followed properly by the police and challan is properly placed before the court, then there is 100% chances of conviction before the courts.
What is the role of drug addiction center?
That's a great point This is the centers which is running every day, which is started 10 years, 15 years back by the government. It is the de-addiction centers in which the who people are into this intake of these drugs. So they actually want to come out of this hell. So they got admitted, or sometimes their parents, the near dear ones, help them to get admitted in the re-addiction center. So there is a replacement of the drugs, and they will give some medicine. After spending 5 months, 6 months, they will come out of it. But sometimes there is a negative reports as well, that they replaced the opium or synthetic drug with the tablets, and sometimes they won't get the proper medicine tablets, then they run away outside from the de-addiction center. Then the managers of the de-addiction centers and the workers chained them with the beds, which is not good. So properly coming into the government should come in front to help this who are into this hell using drugs, and come with the programs psychologically, or who are help them to come out of this problem.
Thank you, Tegbeer Singh Dhillon ji, for coming in our studio.
Thanks, Weber.
We'll be right back in another program. Thanks for watching.